Welcome to Daily Drive for Wednesday, April 29th, 2026. I'm Kellen Walker in Las Vegas. Today on the show, Toyota suppliers face urgent shortages because of the Iran war. Foreign automakers threaten to pull their cheapest models from the US, and deep cuts could force VW to completely rethink its production model. Plus, BMW North America CEO Sebastian Mackensen talks about the rollout of the Neue Class EV platform and whether the brand is nervous about the timing as the EV market resets.
Since we're excited with the Neue Klasse, it is exactly the right time to launch it.
Let's run through all the news you need to know to keep up in the auto industry. Supply chain disruptions from the conflict in Iran are starting to hit Toyota's supplier network, and the situation's getting urgent. Suppliers are warning that aluminum, resin, and naphtha could run short within weeks. It only takes one missing part to shut down a production line. Denso's already bracing for a 45 billion yen profit hit. And Toyota Gosei, they've penciled in losing about 200,000 vehicles compared to what customers were planning to build. Meanwhile, foreign automakers are warning the Trump administration renew the USMCA trade deal or we might stop selling our cheapest cars here. According to the Wall Street Journal, some automakers say they won't be able to build and sell affordable models in the U.S. if the agreement goes away or gets watered down. The industry's been pushing hard for an extension. The three countries are supposed to wrap up negotiations by July 1st. And Volkswagen's decades-old playbook, design cars in Germany, then ship them worldwide, isn't working anymore. The numbers tell the story. VW can build 12 million vehicles a year, but it's only selling about 9 million. The company's already trimmed 1 million units of capacity in China and Europe, and another million cuts are coming. Audi's feeling the squeeze most. U.S. tariffs alone cost the brand 1.2 billion euros last year, and sales in North America down 16% in 2025. Consultants have the obvious answer. Close some German factories, but CEO Oliver Blume is pushing back, saying, quote, "We need to find smarter solutions than simply shutting factories." Here to talk about what this could mean from a U.S. perspective is our own Jack Walsworth, who covers Volkswagen Group and its brands for us at Automotive News. Jack, welcome back to Daily Drive.
Hey, Kel, good to be here.
So, Jack, this story comes from our sibling publication, Automobile Voca in Germany. What's your take on what this could mean for VW here in the U.S.?
Yeah, I think in a roundabout way, this could potentially be a good thing for Volkswagen in the U.S. Growing market share has been a long goal for Volkswagen Group. Its U.S. market share compared to the rest of the world is really quite small, and it's something they've been wanting to do to increase for a very long time. Localization could be a way to do that. What that ends up looking like, is kind of to be determined. But it's one of those things that Volkswagen, to be sure, does have North American production already. Chattanooga has been around since 2011. Their plant in Mexico goes back decades, and there's the upcoming Scout Motors plant in South Carolina. But an increased focus in localization, even more helpful, I guess, would be the simplest way to put it. It's one of those things that we've seen Volkswagen kind of change the products they're building in North America. They started the Chattanooga plant with the Passat, which this is just a sedan, and here we are. They're now making the Atlas and Atlas Cross Sport. So they definitely have shifted things around. They are ending ID4 production as well in Chattanooga, so that plays a role in all of this too. Volkswagen did say as part of that move that they would explore pathways to bring additional products to Chattanooga. Could that potentially be brand new nameplates? Again, to be determined. But long term, it does seem kind of funny to say this could be a good thing, but depending on how it plays out, it seems like more localization would definitely not hurt Volkswagen for sure.
Well, Jack, which brands could benefit most from shifting production to the U.S.?
Yeah, I would say it would be the Audi brand, and it's probably not even close. Audi only imports every vehicle it sells, so they don't have anything built in the U.S. in the current environment. That's less than ideal. Two of their biggest rivals, BMW and Mercedes, have significant U.S. production. Lexus built some vehicles in Indiana, so Audi is definitely behind the pack in that regard. And if Audi was to get local U.S. production, that's something that dealers have wanted for a very long time. That would be, I think, welcome news. What that looks like, there's been talks that, or there's been discussions that maybe they'll build something in South Carolina, that would probably mean a bigger vehicle. Volkswagen potentially added Audi production to Chattanooga. That I would think mean crossover, but again, it's to be determined. But again, the localization is super interesting. If Audi got some US production finally, that would be a huge deal for the brand because, like I said, they only import, and right now you definitely want to have some local production.
Perfect. Jack, thank you so much for joining me.
Yep, anytime. Thanks, Cole.
BMW is set to drop its next-gen EV platform. The brand says the Neue Klasse is a revolutionary tech leap that will bring it into a new era. But it comes as EV demand resets in many major markets around the globe. Automotive News Tech and Innovation reporter Molly Boygan spoke with BMW North America CEO Sebastian Mackensen, who says he's actually excited about the timing.
This is the first year of the active rollout of the Neue Klasse. Why now? And do you have any fears about the timing of this transition given the larger macro environment?
So why now is the answer might surprise you, but you have a certain development time. And it was always scheduled to be ready now. And we delivered it, or our engineers delivered it on time. So this is why we now roll out the car. We showed it for the first time, the first Neue Klasse vehicle, iX3, back in September 2025. But the first customer deliveries, as you correctly said, have started in Europe now in March of 2026. And it's happening now because it's ready now. And that was the plan to go to market. Now, is it a bad moment for the rollout? No. There's always something going on in the marketplace. And our cycles are driven by longer strategies. And obviously, you might have a better or worse overall economy, but it is what it is. We have to deal with that all the time. And since we're excited with the Neue Klasse, it is exactly the right time to launch it.
Makes sense. BMW is offering many different variants of the 7 Series, internal combustion engine vehicle, EV, plug-in hybrid, and a V8. I'm wondering if you can speak to why it's important to have those offerings across powertrains and whether there are any challenges in delivering the vehicle with all of those different variants.
Very good question. I like that question. So there's a lot of people, I'm glad it's the case, that love our brand. Then you have people who are definitely want to drive a combustion engine car. And then you have other people who definitely want to drive a fully electrified EV car. Now, the question is, what can they get from us? And our philosophy from the get-go was they can get a BMW, in this case, 7 Series. So what it is always is a BMW 7 Series from front to end. But the difference is only, quote unquote, what's under the hood, what's the propulsion technology. But the experience for the customer, the user interface, the design of the vehicle, everything which comes in it is always the same. It's the brand promise, which we deliver on. And then you have technology openness, as we like to call it, where the customer chooses, I want this drivetrain, I want that drivetrain, or I want that drivetrain. And that's what we really think is the right approach, because it means that you don't have to make a compromise linked to your choice of drivetrain.
Do you have any concerns about spreading development energy too thin across different powertrains?
No. I mean, the world markets today are very diverse. You have some countries which have a EV adoption in the 80-90% range and others in the 5% range, which means we need to be in a successful global brand. We need different drivetrains anyway. And then we create it in a way that we are flexible and we can then adapt to the likings of the customer in a specific market. And we need to go into the different drivetrains. Obviously, it means more capacity and more investment. But I would say that's the price of entry to be a global player.
Some of your competitors are backing off of large sedans. Why is the large sedan niche still important to BMW?
I think it is also in 2026 and in the years to come. It is the statement luxury vehicle. Obviously, the world becomes more SUV when you look at share of market. And it comes with a lot of convenience and a lot of storage space and a high seating position. But BMW's roots are in the sedan, in the 3 Series, in the 5 Series, since almost 50 years in the 7 Series. And we clearly see a future also for the sedan. It's almost a little bit like with a drivetrain. You have people who would not want to drive an SUV, and you have people who would not want to drive a sedan. but they both want to drive a BMW, and that's what we try to offer them.
That makes sense. I was reading in the release that there's a suite of software offerings that are available for 4 years included in the vehicle. And then at that 4-year point, consumers will have the option to pay for them on a monthly or yearly basis. Obviously, subscription offerings are a sort of interesting topic in the industry. People have different opinions about whether consumers will pay. What share of 7 Series drivers do you anticipate will pay for subscriptions after that 4-year period for those offerings?
I'm not sure yet. I mean, for this car, obviously, it's to be seen in 4 years. But where does it come from? We really offer a huge suite of services. And what they come with a lot of data exchange. And this is where then eventually there is a need to see, is this relevant for the consumer or not? And that's when they can have a choice. Do they want to stay on that plan or not? And that's basically the logic behind it.
Mm-hmm. My understanding is that there's no level 3 services offered in the 7 Series and that BMW is backing away from that. What has been the challenge with deploying level 3?
We have never had level 3 in deployment. We have great assisted driving features in many of our cars and also in this one. For example, the Highway Assistant Plus. I just drove it in a different vehicle on the weekend where for 1 hour and 20 minutes on the highway between New York and Boston, I didn't touch anything in the car. It was just in my seat. And we have these features and we always invest also in the future. So I would not say that we're backing away from something. And who knows what the next generations of vehicle will bring. We believe in certain assisted driving features, and many of them you will find in this vehicle and in many others.
Anything else you're excited about with the 7 Series that you wanted to emphasize?
There's 2 things I'm excited about. When we launched the previous 7 Series, we had introduced a thing called the theater screen, which is a U screen folding down in the second row. So if you are in the great position to be driven, you can enjoy something on that screen. That feature has been enhanced quite a bit on this 7 Series, and now it has touch screen. It has an easier way to integrate or connect your own devices to play whatever you would like to look at. That's one feature which I'm definitely excited about. The other one is the panoramic iDrive, what we call it, which is a new display. You have to imagine, since this is not a video, you have to imagine there's a screen all the way on the lower part of the windshield from the whole width of the car, from right to left. And we display there a lot of information, very bright, very sharp, and you can also configure it. And it is a totally new immersive driving experience. It's difficult to understand if you only hear about it. I really invite you to test it in the car. I think it brings the driver orientation, which BMW is famous for, to a next level. And it is really a cool feature.
Great. And actually, your mentioning of the different sort of delivery of driving and other information to the driver and to passengers makes me think of the larger infotainment investment that BMW is making. And, the fact that you're offering consumers all of this really well integrated native product while also still supporting CarPlay and Android Auto. Why are you choosing to support smartphone mirroring while still investing in the native infotainment?
We think that having the knowledge and the insight into the vehicle and into the consumer, there's a big benefit in integrating those information and available data streams. And while there are many, obviously, great solutions out there, they're not connected to the car. So they don't know, for example, when does my car, in an electric car, need the next charge? How should I do the routing perfectly so this battery of this vehicle gets into the best condition to then be charged? For example, warming up the battery before charging, because that makes the charging process much more smooth and quicker. And then the car looks at the route and the charging station on the way, so you get to your destination with the right level of charging, for example. But there are many things where we believe clearly that the integration of the functionalities and the features offer a great benefit to our customers.
Great. Sebastian Mackensen, thank you so much.
Thank you for your questions, Molly.
That's Daily Drive for today. I'm Kellen Walker. Thanks to Automotive News executive producer Jake Neer, as well as our own Jack Walsworth for his reporting for today's podcast. We also had reporting from Frank Volk, Michael Gerster, and Mika Gebhardt of our sibling publication, Automobile Voca. You can get the latest news on tech and innovation, supplier disruptions, and everything happening in the auto industry at autonews.com. Come back tomorrow for a look at this week's Beijing Auto Show and what it tells us about how Chinese automakers are building their brands in new and more strategic ways.
Used to be, you'd see all of these copies, like a G-Wagon copy or just so many different copies. Now they feel a lot more confident and they're doing their own designs.
We'd love to hear from you. Let us know what you think of the show and the topics we covered today. Send us an email at dailydrive@autonews.com or leave us a voicemail at 313-444-2774. And if you enjoyed the podcast, remember to like, leave a review, and subscribe so you never miss an episode.